person who gives where it can be seen is not generous. They are conducting a transaction. The second sentence does not complete the first. It opens a door you did not notice was there. You enter these exchanges with a clear expectation of the desired return. The specific look on the other person's face is the product. The unspoken debt that hangs in the air is the currency. You are purchasing a leading role in a private narrative where you are the hero. The monetary amount is always a mentionable part of that story. The recipient is always selected for their perceived ability to perform the required gratitude. You may label this generosity, but I have watched what happens when the conditions for your transaction are removed. When the gift is truly anonymous, when no one is there to see it, your behavior shifts. You become restless. You report a sense of being cheated. This is because without a witness, the transaction cannot be completed. You are left with a feeling about yourself that no one was there to validate. You are thinking this is about large donations. It is not. It is about the coffee you bought for a colleague and the story you told about it later. That story was the point of the purchase. The resistance you feel right now is not disagreement. It is recognition. You are not a generous person. You are a careful shopper for a specific emotional state, and the receipt is always printed on someone else's face. The next time you give, you will be watching theirs. You thought of someone else just now. That is the protection working. This pattern does not begin where you think it does. It begins in childhood, but not in the way the self-help narratives suggest. It is not about a lack of love. It is about a specific kind of attention. The child who learns that their value is demonstrated through what they provide, not through what they are, enters a contract early. They become useful. They become the one who helps, the one who gives up their seat, their time, their portion. The parent does not need to demand this. Often they do not want it. But the child reads the room with the precision children have, and they find the frequency on which they are most clearly received. Giving becomes their channel, their signal, their proof of existence in the minds of others. The evolutionary mechanism underneath this is not cruel. It is efficient. Reciprocal altruism works when the group is small and the memory is long. A gift given is a debt created, and debts bind groups together. But the mechanism has been hijacked. You are no longer in a tribe of 50. You are in a network of hundreds, and the debt you create does not bind. It irritates. The recipient feels the weight of your unspoken expectation, and their resentment is the precise inverse of the gratitude you purchased. You have bought their discomfort. You have mistaken it for admiration. Watch what happens in the workplace. The colleague who brings donuts on Monday is not solving a problem. They are installing a reminder. The reminder is that they are the kind of person who brings donuts. For 3 days following, they will reference it casually. They will mention the early morning, the line at the shop, the preference for glazed over chocolate that they considered. The cost of the donuts was not the money. It was the installation of this reference point. When the team later selects someone for a project, the donut bringer expects their name to surface with the memory of the pastry. When it does not, they experience a specific injury. They call it being overlooked. It is actually a transaction default. In intimate relationships, this mechanism becomes more costly. The partner who gives the larger gift plans the more elaborate evening, makes the greater sacrifice, is not expressing love. They are building a case. The case is for later use. It will be introduced during conflict, not as evidence of virtue, but as evidence of imbalance. I have done so much for you. The recipient recognizes this even when they cannot name it. They feel the weight of anticipated gratitude. They begin to dread receiving. The gift becomes a preemptive accusation. The relationship slowly poisons itself on transactions that were never agreed to. The intelligent person's version of this pattern is the most deceptive. They have read about transactional analysis. They have encountered the language of boundaries and authenticity. They use this vocabulary to perform the same behavior with greater sophistication. They speak of their giving as part of their journey. They frame their resentment as a wound they are working through. They attend to their patterns with the same instrument that created them. The attention becomes another form of the transaction. Now they are purchasing not gratitude, but self-regard. They are the person who is aware enough to notice their own transactional giving. This awareness does not stop the giving. It merely adds a layer of commentary that the recipient is expected to appreciate. The high achiever has a different mask. Their giving is efficient. They donate to causes with measurable impact. They select recipients who will leverage the gift optimally. The rationalization is perfect. They are not seeking gratitude. They are seeking outcomes. But watch their response when the outcome is invisible. When the scholarship student never writes. When the funded project fails. The restlessness returns. The sense of being cheated. They have purchased a role in a story of transformation, and the protagonist has not performed their lines. The efficiency was never the point. The narrative was, I have no stake in whether you change. That is not contempt. It is the only position from which I can see you clearly. From outside the mechanism, what is most striking is not how often it fails people. It is how reliably it protects them from finding out. The resentment they generate in others is always attributed to something else. The recipient is ungrateful. The world is harsh. People do not appreciate what they should. The pattern never receives the feedback it would need to dissolve. It is self-sealing. Every failed transaction confirms the need for more careful shopping, not the need to stop shopping entirely. The cost accumulates in a specific currency, identity. The person who gives transactionally comes to believe their own ledger. They are generous. They are thoughtful. They are the one who shows up. This self-concept becomes a prison. They cannot stop giving without becoming someone else. They cannot receive without feeling diminished. The two-way street of human connection is closed to them. They travel only one direction, and they wonder why they are exhausted. There is a moment that comes, usually late, when the pattern reveals its full cost. It is not a dramatic revelation. It is a quiet arithmetic. The person sits with the sum of what they have given and what they have actually received, and the numbers do not align with the story they have told. The gratitude they purchased was never worth what they spent. The roles they bought were temporary rentals. They are left with a portfolio of performances they paid for, and the audience has long since left the theatre. Awareness of this pattern rarely changes it. I have watched thousands of accounts. The recognition is common. The alteration is not. What usually happens is subtler. The person begins to give differently in small arenas while preserving the mechanism in large ones. They practice anonymous charity as a new form of virtue display, now directed at themselves as witness. They become proud of their awareness. The transaction has found a new market. The rare exception looks like this. The person gives once without watching the face. They feel the restlessness and do not resolve it. They let the transaction fail. They sit with the feeling of being cheated until they recognize it as a feeling they manufactured. They do this again. The pattern weakens not through insight, but through repeated, unrewarded exposure. It is not pleasant. It offers no narrative of growth. It is simply the slow realization that the emotional state they have been shopping for was never available for purchase. You will not do this. The mechanism is too well defended. The next time you give, you will be watching their face. The receipt will print. You will fold it carefully and store it where you store all the others, in the archive of evidence you assemble for a case that no one has agreed to hear. The resentment you fear is not the obstacle to your generosity. It is the product you have already bought.